So we have different experiences in terms of daily activities, and we're on different rotations. And so not every day looks the same in terms of our training. But I wanted to get an idea of what a typical day for you would look like. I know right now our days are similar because we're on the same rotation, but what would a typical day for you look like?
Yeah, and then to your point, it depends on the rotation that you're on. So for a typical GYN rotation, I'm a big fan of sleeping in as much as possible. And for me, that's usually 6 a.m., getting up, doing self-care, shower, getting a great breakfast before starting the day. Then typically I'll go in and round on my patients to see them. And I love being able to see patients that you operate on post-op because you learn that way, and also these patients really get to know you and are trusting of you. So seeing patients, and then typically after that I'll go straight to pre-op patients for that day's particular surgery, or go to clinic if I'm in clinic that day. You may be in the whole OR or whatever all day long, or you may be in clinic. Afterwards, usually I'm a big fan of keeping in communication. So usually we'll be in contact with some of the residents that are on the service with you to sort of meet up. I'm also a big fan of free food. I think any resident appreciates that. And there's a lot of opportunities to have some free food at certain times at the hospitals that we work at. So meeting up, sort of getting free food, having self-care, winding down from the day, talking about things to be done. And then, like I said earlier, I go straight home, spend some time with my daughter, and then if I need some doing notes after she's in bed, I'll do that. But I try to have everything at work done, so when I go home, I can sort of relax and have some self-care.
And I love that you mentioned that, because what I've experienced so far in my 9.5 weeks of being a part of the Emory family is how much the upper level residents and the leadership and the faculty members emphasize the importance of leaving work at work. Oh, yeah. They encourage us not to take things home, and so I love that you make that a point to try to leave work at work as much as you can. It's not always going to be possible, but when you can, it's lovely that you do that. And so for me, I'm gonna speak from the perspective of labor and obstetrics. And so a typical day on labor looks slightly different from a typical day on GYN.
It's a little busier.
It's busier. And I love that aspect of it. That's part of what drew me to OBGYN, is the fact that your days can be drastically different. My brain is always going. I'm always thinking about something. I have 3 tabs open at least every minute. And so multiply that by the number of minutes in a day. And so I love that there are busy rotations, and then there are rotations where you get to relax a little bit more. And that balance is key in terms of the specialty. And so on labor, a typical day would look like showing up as an intern. You would show up in your postpartum round on your patients, the deliveries from previous days if they're still in-house. Make sure they're good. And then there is the team sign out. And so you have night team and you have day team. And so signing out in person, face-to-face, is very important. And I love that we do that, because it cuts any or not all, but it cuts most chances for miscommunication, making sure that patient cares at its best. And so making sure we do those team sign-outs, I love that part of the day. Something else that I really love that we did during my labor rotation is some education during our team.
Yeah, we just started that.
Oh, yes. I absolutely love it. So the senior on the night team always had some kind of little nugget of knowledge relating to something that happened overnight or something with one of our patients. And that was really great, because it just adds a stress-free way of putting an education into sign out. And it's things that I'll remember moving forward, just because it's not just you're bombarded with a bunch of articles or anything like that. No, it's in person, conversational. This is just, what happened. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this type of disease process or this type of, finding during labor. So I think that was really phenomenal. And then after that, patients are giving birth left and right. Yeah. You're having C-sections, you're having vaginal deliveries, you're having, urgent care type for pregnant patients. And it's a lot. And I love it, because you blink and the day is over, because you've just done so much. And so that's a typical day on labor. And then you sign out with the night team, you go home and possibly eat dinner. Just kidding. Always eat dinner. And then just do whatever else. For me, whatever else includes deciding whether I want to go to sleep or whether I want to watch TV. So I do have that guilty pleasure of some shows that I try to keep up with to turn my brain off, like you mentioned earlier. So.
And I think that one thing with the schedule, I had the opportunity to be the Jeopardy resident last rotation.
Yes, you did.
So that schedule is completely up to chance. But was started because of resident wellness, which we have a big, important, it's kind of our goal at Emory, is to be well-rounded, and wellness is part of that. So so when I was on Jeopardy, the chiefs would contact me the day before and say, "This is where you're going. This is what you're going to do."
Ta-da!
And for me, it was fun because you get to operate with co-residents, double scrub. You can jump around. You can see how people are learning, and especially in July, seeing all the new interns, it was great to meet various people and stuff. So I love my schedule, and even though it was chaotic.
Oh yeah, and we got to work with you on labor a couple of times during that Jeopardy rotation.